Hello, Flipped Classroom number 14. Let's have at it. Here we are, exploring various topics today, and I'm going to start with reviewing a little bit about the half-angle ID problems that we've been messing with. Here are the equations for the half-angle IDs. I tucked them up in the corners here. Remember, there's a plus or minus, which your brain has to supply, which one it is. And then the sine has the negative one, and the cosine has the positive one. And strangely enough, both sine and cosine of half an angle have a cosine in them. Oops, I see two hands up. I have an A here and a U here, so let me coordinate this. So we have to have the same variable throughout. There we go. I want to start by addressing something on number 45, and I understand that some of you have finished that one, and I don't intend to do the whole thing, but for the sake of those who haven't gotten there, and for those who have, I just want to talk a minute about the cosine of pi over 8. It is number 45 on that yellow handout, and I'll take you, for those who haven't done it yet, I'll take you a little way, not far, and drop you off. But what I want to do on this one, the command on this one is to find the cosine of pi over 8. And we can't go strictly to the unit circle and find pi over 8 because it's not on the unit circle. But we notice that if we double that, pi over 8, so in our minds, I'm going to erase this, but in our minds, we're thinking, if I double pi over 8, I get 2 pi over 8, which reduces to pi over 4. And that is on the unit circle. So whenever we have a problem that is not on the unit circle, but the double of the problem is on the unit circle, then we can take what the double part is, divide it by 2, and that's equivalent to the original problem. So we haven't changed anything. So we're going to take, instead of doing pi over 8, impossible to do, and we're just going to rewrite it a different way. Pi over 4 divided in half is pi over 8, but we can do this one because we have a formula that can get us through it. So if this is cosine of a over 2, this must be the part A. So we're going to use the formula, and it looks like this: plus or minus 1 plus cosine of a over 2. We begin over here. Will we use plus or will we use minus? Well, I expect to use a plus because we're in quadrant number 1. The original problem was where we go, not the doubled, but the original problem, pi over 8, is in the first quadrant. So we're going to choose the plus where cosine is positive. Inside of here, a, as I mentioned, takes on the value pi over 4. All right. So we have 1 plus cosine pi over 4. Pi over 4 is on the unit circle, and its value is square root of 2 over 2. When we put that in the equation, I don't think you'll have any trouble with the math there. We have cosine is plus 1 plus cosine, what number is this, 45? Yeah, 1 plus cosine of square root of 2 over 2, and then you simplify that, giving the like denominator in the numerator, dividing it by 2 over 1, which means to flip and multiply, and simplify as you can do. Alright, I just wanted to, there was a little bit of confusion I heard in the conversation today. Why do we double this if we're using a half angle equation? So hopefully that helps understand why. Alright, on the rest of this video, I'm going to go ahead and explain to you my plan. I'm going to do I'm going to do number 49, and that is one that no one has gotten to yet on the assignment. And if you write that down in your work area or on a separate sheet of paper or whatever, and we will count that tomorrow. You know, that'll take one more off of our homework, our classwork assignment, and some of you only will have like one more to do, I believe, because number 47 was one you haven't done, but I did that on last night's video. I would like you to look over the work that you copied from last night's video. On number 47, that was the tangent of 3 pi over 8, I believe. And remember, I got the answer wrong. I would really like it if you would review my work and see if you can find the mistake. If you, no one mentioned today that they saw anything wrong, so to get credit for number 47, you have to write it down in your work. So make sure that you re-watch that part of last night's video and write it down, or just start it afresh on your own. All right. So I talked about number 47 now, and now we're going to work number 49 together. Let's use pause points. Pause points is where I'm talking about a problem and I want you to pause. I'm not going to pause the video, but you are going to pause the video and continue finding whatever I'm asking you to find, and then rejoin me and see if you get it or not. So let's play pause points. All right, we're going to look at number 49. And on that one, we were asked to find sine and cosine only. Well, that every little bit helps there. And we are given the fact that sine of u is 5 over 13. And we are told that pi over 2 is less than u, which is less than pi. This area right here tells us what quadrant it is in. So I want you to pause right now and tell me what quadrant this talks about. Turn off, or not turn off, but pause the video and you will answer the question for yourself. What quadrant are we talking about when the angle's between pi over 2 and pi? Rejoining, did you choose the quadrant? This is pi over 2, this is pi. So did you choose quadrant number 2? All right, hopefully yes. All right, moving on. In order to find sine of u over 2, we're going to actually draw the triangle. And I was surprised today how you didn't like those. So hopefully you're getting a little more used to them, and they'll come up the scale on your on the scale of whether you like it or not. And this is side opposite. We're in quadrant number 2. This is side hypotenuse. So you draw that part of the bow tie or butterfly that appears in the second quadrant, giving side opposite the value 5 and side hypotenuse 13. I want you now to calculate the missing side with the Pythagorean theorem. Pause point. All right, rejoining us on 49. Did you get 12? Actually, it goes in to the left, so indicate it with a minus 12. All right, now the problem asks us to find the sine of u over 2. So I'm going to write out the formula. And we will need this triangle to do part of the formula. And it's going to be, since we're looking for sine, plus or minus square root of 1 minus cosine of a over 2. All right, I want you to pause now. I want you to choose whether it's plus or minus, and I want you to put in the value that goes for a. So pause. Did you notice that since we're working in the second quadrant and all students take calculus, the sign is always positive in the second quadrant, so I'm going to choose the positive result. And again, I mixed up my a and my u. I'll just call them all u. And cosine of u, in this case, we are unsure of what cosine of u is. So when you paused it, did you evaluate cosine of u by looking at the triangle? And on number 49, cosine of u is adjacent over hypotenuse, negative 12 over 13. All right, so because it's a negative and a negative, we end up with a double negative inside, causing a positive. Hopefully you're not erasing on your paper, but you're quickly writing it over again. From there, let me drop you off, so to speak. In other words, pause and see if you can simplify this mess by yourself. And when you've got it all the way down as far as you can go ahead and turn it back on and see if you got it right. So, pause point. All right, so I'm going to keep going here, and I'm going to change my 1 to a 13 over 13. That gives me, in the numerator, a 25 over 13. And that's divided by a 2 over 1. I flip and multiply, and I get the square root of 25 over 26. And I'm going to rationalize that. Well, I know the square root of 25 is 5, and I know the square root of 26 can be rationalized out of the denominator by multiplying by square root of 26 over to square root of 26. In the end, if I have a spot to write it on, I get 5 square roots of 26 over plain 26. Hopefully your work agrees with mine. If it does not, please change it at this time. So, all right, so when you come back to class, the only one you'll have less, some of you, the only ones that you'll have less left to do is number 50, which is my goal is to get everyone through so we can start our review for Tuesday's test. In fact, I'm going to start one of those reviews right now. It's one of those problem reviews right now. So if I'm going to stop this video, so I failed to time it, and I'm not sure how long it's been, but it feels 10 minute-ish. So I'm going to turn it off and start again. So see you again in part 2.